everybody, and today I'd like to read one of my stories called Norton and Alpha. Norton is the robot here, and Alpha is his creation, who is his dog, and together they go out finding lots of different objects, and he makes all sorts of different creations from the things that he finds. But one day he finds something that he doesn't quite understand. Herschel's just downstairs having his breakfast, so I'm just waiting for him to join me. I think that actually might be him now, so I think he's just coming in. Oh, Herschel, there you are. It's story time. Hi, Herschel. Are you ready for story time? Yeah? Are you ready for story time? Oops. Just watch out there, Hershey. Scoochie. This is Norton and Alpha. Norton was a collector. Battered wheels, rusty cogs, broken springs. They all found their way into Norton's collection, but best of all were the things Norton didn't have a name for. So this is where Norton lives. Norton found interesting things almost everywhere he looked. They were rarely beautiful, but they were usually useful. And from what he found, big or small, Norton made the most amazing inventions. One day, Norton found something interesting he couldn't name. He attached it to his latest project and then stood back. It was perfect. Norton decided to call the project Alpha. Now Norton had a companion to help with his collecting. Alpha would follow his little robot nose off down. Excuse me, Hershey. Down unknown paths. He dug into holes, scurried into small unreachable places, delved into unexplored spaces, and found all sorts of wonderful things. On Tuesday morning, Alpha's nose felt slightly odd. It tickled and tingled and led him to something very unusual. Norton was baffled. It was unlike anything he had ever seen before. But what was it? Norton and Alpha were determined to find out, so with a bit of effort they picked it and set off on their way home. Norton held onto it tightly. He didn't take his eyes off it for a moment, except to climb the ladder up to his house. Norton went straight to his workshop. He did all his usual experiments. He oiled it. He tried plugging it in. He even x-rayed it. But that confused Norton even more. It didn't seem useful at all. It also didn't look nearly as interesting as it had when they first found it. So Norton threw it out the window. For the rest of the day, Norton and Alpha tidied up the mess left over from their experiments. They found a little round thing that it had left behind. Norton decided to keep it. Maybe one day he would find a use for it. On Wednesday, it was far too wet to go out collecting. But Alpha still needed his exercise. On Thursday, it was extremely hot. Norton and Alpha spent most of the day trying to keep cool. But on Friday, it was the perfect day for treasure hunting. The weather was glorious, so Norton made sure they had a hearty breakfast. Then they oiled their joints and got everything ready for a long day's collecting. They ran to the doors and flung them open, and what they saw was Beautiful. Norton and Alpha bounced and jumped among the field of its. They collected up lots of its and carried them home. Norton forgot all about trying to find what it was, or what it was for. But one thing he did know was, it's made him smile. And that's the end of Norton and Alpha's story. What did you think about that, Herschel? You think it's time for a nap now? Okay. Bye, everybody.